Here's a timely interview you're going to want to watch. A senior vice president at a notable watch company is joining us to discuss some new products, as well as alarming supply chain concerns. And joining us now is Silvio Leonardi. He's the resident historian and a senior vice president at Timex. He's joining me now. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you very much indeed, and hello everyone.
You have a new product hitting the market that commemorates something particularly special. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, 50 years ago, they started the quartz revolution. So we are reissuing our very first quartz line. The name is Q line, and we are launching the very first quartz watch we launched in 1972, basically.
And you raise a very interesting point there. You talk about quartz. We had the quartz crisis in the 1970s, and that has a lot of overlaps with what we're seeing now in terms of supply chain issues really across the board. So what are you seeing now in comparison to then?
I mean, these are two different kind of crises, so to say. The first one, the quartz crisis, or it's better calling quartz revolution, was basically the launch of a new technology in the market that changed dramatically the geography of the watch industry at that time. If you remember, I mean, you don't remember if you know, because you are too young to remember, at that time, the only product, the only watches that were produced were using a mechanical movement. And in 1969, Seiko launched this first quartz movement, which was basically solving one of the biggest problems of the industry at the time, which was the accuracy and the cost of the product. A mechanical product has a direct proportion between accuracy and price. The higher the price, the more accuracy the product is. Quartz movement is cheap and is much more precise than any mechanical watch produced at that time. So in 1972, Timex, that was already working on this technology, launched this first quartz line to, let's say, embrace the quartz revolution. And this was a very important decision at the time. But basically, this has been an innovation launched on the market that changed the face of the market in a way. Today, the situation is different. Today, the situation is that all the industries, doesn't really matter, the industry has been impacted by the COVID. And we are among the few brand that has his own factory in the Philippines. So our supply chain has been impacted by the COVID. Indeed, our first priority has been the safety of the people working in the factory. So we got some delay, we got some issues to cope with because of the COVID. But as usual, I mean, we are coping with it. It's a very fluid situation. Now it seems that it is stabilizing. So we are overcoming this crisis as well.
Well, the last thing I want to ask you about is, of course, about COVID, right? So you mentioned that you are among the people, you're among the groups having supply chain issues. How is that, and how are you working around that?
I mean, again, priority number one, the safety of the people in the factory. So we are creating all the safety procedures to be sure that people in the factory get not infected, and we are creating a certain level of flow of work to be sure that we have all the safety procedure in place in the work. And it's a matter of fact that we have been impacted much less than expected in a way. Just because we have been very, very serious in following all the procedure, all the safety procedures in the factories.
Okay, Silvio Leonardi, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much indeed, and have a nice day.